really good at secrets. They had decided, a year before they let go of Jalen Ramsey or a Cooper Kupp or a Todd Gurley, or maybe 5 months before they let go of Jared Goff. They knew it. Nobody else did. So I remember they held firm on Matt Stafford. They love Matt Stafford, but Matt Stafford got a one-year deal. The bottom line is Matt Stafford wanted multiple guaranteed years, and the Rams wouldn't budge. And because they have 2 first-round picks, here is the guarantee in next year's NFL draft. Not even Cleveland can guarantee this. The Rams are going to take a quarterback. They are going to take a quarterback. So because no team in the NFL right now could either win the Super Bowl or win 4 games like the Rams. It all depends on Stafford's health because the backup is Jimmy Garoppolo, who has aged very quickly and has been ineffective in his last 7 starts. So Stafford, this is a big story. Stafford was at practice today, and they have kept this thing under wraps. They have been so covert and so quiet. But the Rams move off people. Somebody on our staff said this morning, I thought it was funny, Sean McVay is Belichick, better dressed and with a smile. They move off people a year early. They didn't want to move off Matt Stafford. There was going to be no long-term deal. And so him being at practice, we've all been waiting for this. Is he going to practice? Because the defense is unbelievable. The running back room now is really good. Devontae Adams, they drafted Terrence Ferguson at tight end. They have a Super Bowl team. The left tackle's had some blood clots. If Stafford plays, they can go toe-to-toe with anybody, including Philadelphia. I have them. But the Stafford thing, we're just sitting waiting, and nothing leaks. Nothing leaks with the Rams. It is a lot like Belichick. Nothing leaked.
Yeah. Well, this to me then is just like there's not a lot to talk about the Rams. He dressed for practice. I mean, I don't think there was ever really a question of if he was going to be able to play at all. So I imagined he was going to at least start to practice. But the whole thing is that he's behind right now. When they kind of talked about the workouts that he was doing and some of the stuff that he was doing, it was just like so light, so gentle. So I don't really know the work that he's been putting in. And it's not like someone like Stafford needs so much right now because he is obviously a highly, highly, highly seasoned veteran and a special one at that. To me, it was never about is he going to be able to play or whatnot. It's just like how healthy is he going to be throughout the season? That has been the same. That has been my take from the jump, from March or whenever it was like officially solidified that he was 100% staying with Los Angeles. Like it is just all about getting Matthew Stafford over the finish line more than anything else. But him dressing and having some practices, like Stafford's a warrior. Stafford is not some soft player. He's taken a beating throughout his entire career. So there was never any questioning that he was eventually going to find himself out there. But again, it's all about managing him throughout the season, keeping him upright, keeping him healthy, and kind of what is that going to look like throughout the season? And do they ever have a moment where they're like, hey, we do have to shut you down for a game or whatnot, and it is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo or someone else? And even referencing Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G, I only care what he looks like specifically with Sean McVay in 2025. I don't care about anything else prior to that, honestly. And if anyone's going to be able to squeeze out some extra juice, it's going to be Sean McVay. So I'm not too concerned with that, but I do agree with Colin talking about the Rams, how it's either 4 wins or a Super Bowl, and it all comes down to how healthy is Stafford, and that's why I'm just a broken record here, where I just keep saying it. The name of the game is to have Stafford as healthy as possible going into the playoffs. It's not a matter of just like reaching the playoffs and having the whole everyone's banged up. It's like, how do we get this guy to be as fresh and as healthy as we possibly can? It's like, I really want Stafford to be averaging like 22, 23, 24. I want him to have like a Jalen Hurts season throughout the regular season, and then you unleash him in the playoffs. Because I just believe in wear and tear and cumulative fatigue combined with the injury issues and his age, where it's just like, man, if we can get this quarterback just fresh, he can just dice everyone up with the best of them. You know, I mean, like he is still that talented. He is still that special, but you just don't want him to be hanging on a thread going into the wild card round, because it just catches up with you, man. It just does. And especially like if you're talking about going across the country and going and playing someone in the cold weather, whether it be the Commanders, whether it be the Eagles. Like there's enough competitive teams out east where there's a great chance that you might be playing in another rough, cold weather, you know, snowy, rainy, windy game. And when you're old and beat up and have some lingering injuries and you've been throwing 35 times a game, it catches up. We really do not talk about cumulative fatigue enough in football. It seems to be like the one sport that we don't really talk about. You talk about it in basketball, you talk about it in baseball, specifically with pitchers, but we just really don't mention it with football players. I don't know why. I maybe it's just because it's all about just being as tough and strong as you can be, and like no one wants to talk about this idea of cumulative fatigue and how like you got a little bit of extra zip on your arm when in week 3 compared to week 18 or whatnot. Like it is a little different, and especially when you're older, so I'll be that broken record and talk about that throughout the season, but it's definitely good to see him dressed for practice, good to see him out there. But I always imagined we were going to see him eventually and that he was going to get out there. But it was always, to me, it's just more about how healthy can they get him feeling right now, and how can they minimize what he's dealing with, because there's no way from my viewpoint that it just magically resolves. So it's going to be something that's going to be lingering throughout the season. And does it affect him on the field, or is it more off the field, right? Is it something where he can get it together for 3 hours a week, or is it one of those things where it's just like, this really messes me up during the week after the games? I'm sore, I'm swollen, like it's harder to sleep at night. Like we just don't have those answers, and he's never going to share those answers either. Like no one's ever going to give us that. Only the individual athlete and the physical therapist will ever actually really know. But Stafford's good enough where he could just not practice throughout the entire offseason and still trot out there week 1 and still have a semblance of a highly productive offense. So I was never too concerned with the reps themselves. It's more about the lingering health and how it actually impacts him in any given moment. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford getting dressed for practice like a big boy? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.